Tony Scott, director of Top Gun and Days of Thunder, dead at 68, and the tributes are pouring in to Twitter. Welcome to Digits. I'm Simon Constable. Liz Heron, the director of social media here at the Wall Street Journal, joins us on the set. Great director, sad that he's dead, but the tributes have just flown in.
That's right, Simon. It's an interesting thing that happens these days with social media. When a public figure dies, there's sort of a public mourning that takes place. And a lot of people who have worked with Ridley Scott, actors, other directors, people in the film industry, have been putting out tributes, choosing to put them out over Twitter and other social media. And in addition to the people who are just fans of his films are also sharing a lot of their feelings about his death on Twitter.
And we'll get to some of those in a moment. I mean, he's also the brother of Ridley Scott, who was notably the director of Blade Runner and also the art director on one of the Star Wars movies, as far as I know. A lot of people remember, in the office here, remember Top Gun quite fondly, right?
Yes, that's absolutely one of his most well-known films. It still resonates to this day. I think they play it to Navy recruits in the United States, so it's still a very impactful film. Yeah, and
obviously made a lot of people want to become pilots there. And there we're looking at some scenes from Top Gun there with Tom Cruise in it. So let's go through some of the tweets that have gone out. Ron Howard, director, and one-time Richie Cunningham on on the Happy Days. So he's saying no more Tony Scott movies, tragic day.
That's right. Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of celebrities were sort of mourning the loss of Tony Scott as a filmmaker, as a person who, you know, they were hoping to see more films from in the future, and obviously that has been cut short.
And there's Samuel L. Jackson taking a moment to reflect on Tony Scott's life and work. My sympathies to his family, feeling the loss. These are the very big names. And Robert Rodriguez, director, Tony Scott, damn. Great knowing you, buddy. Thanks for the inspiration, advice, encouragement, and the decades of great entertainment. And we're Justin Timberlake there. So tell us about why people are doing this. Why do they feel the need? I mean, some of these big names probably know Tony Scott's family because they could pick up the phone and say, "Look, really sorry."
I'm sure they did that as well. You know, but there's this new thing now where. In the past, you may have wanted to pay tribute to a friend or a colleague or someone you admired in your industry by maybe at least going to their funeral or potentially eulogizing them at the funeral. But now everybody has a platform to sort of give another tribute out there and really be a part of that conversation. And I have a feeling that a lot of these celebrities, if they didn't find their name, you know, if they were to pass away and their names didn't trend on Twitter and they didn't have people coming out and saying nice things about them, they would feel robbed. So it's just sort of the way we mourn these days.
And this has changed. I remember when Princess Diana died, people went to Buckingham Palace and they put a lot of flowers outside Buckingham Palace. Is this like the now equivalent of that?
I think that's a very good assessment. Yeah.
Okay, and what I mean, I guess one of the things here is how much is this for the person who's died and the family, and how much is it for some people who are just trying to show off?
You know, I think to some extent there may be some people out there who are trying to sort of claim a connection to the person who's passed away and sort of publicly say like, I knew him. But it's hard to guess at the motives behind it. I think, you know, what is interesting is that it's not just celebrities who are saying these kinds of things on Twitter. It's also regular people who enjoyed Tony Scott's movies. And, you know, this tends to happen whenever a celebrity dies these days. So people will go and find their favorite quotes or their favorite clips from the artist's work, and they'll sort of put their personal stamp on it and say, you know, I really loved this part of this person's work, and I'm putting it out there that I am mourning them and I cared about them. And
so oftentimes when you get someone who's been involved in creating great work and all these things, Top Gun, obviously, True Romance, Days of Thunder, all in his credits, you then get a retrospective on television really soon after. Can we expect that? Can we expect to see just an absolute slew of these movies coming out?
I think so. I think he was a very prolific director who's directed some of the very important films in Hollywood in the last few decades. So, you know, judging from the outpouring we've seen already, I think that's probably in the cards.
Okay. Well, obviously, our hearts go out to his family and his friends. Thank you very much. Liz Heron, social media director here at the Wall Street Journal, and more on that on our Speakeasy blog.